October 17th, 2024, 9:42 a.m., Regional Medical Center, Milfield, Ohio. The operating room sterile hum froze as Dr. Patricia Sullivan's scalpel hovered over Elellanar Hartford's neck. Her latex gloves trembled slightly, the blade catching the glare of surgical lights. What lay beneath the 74-year-old's skin wasn't the expected cyst. A glint of metal, impossibly embedded, silenced the room, broken only by the heart monitor's steady beep. A nurse staggered back, her tray of instruments crashing to the tile floor in a chaotic clatter. The anesthesiologist, hands shaking, rechecked vitals, muttering, "This can't be right." Elellanar, Milfield's beloved third-grade teacher for decades, had concealed this anomaly beneath scarves and solitude, a secret older than most of her former students. "Dear God," Dr. Sullivan whispered, her surgical mask hiding a grimace. What is this? What had Elellanar hidden for so long, and why was it surfacing now, threatening to unravel her quiet life? From wherever you're watching, share your thoughts. What secrets might lie buried in someone's past, waiting to be exposed? Let's step into Elellanar's story and uncover the truth. 6 months earlier, Elellanar May Hartford, 74, had perfected the art of vanishing in Milfield, Ohio, a town of 3,000 where gossip traveled faster than the morning paper. Once the heart of Milfield Elementary, directing Christmas pageants and coaxing shy readers, she now moved like a ghost. Her Victorian home on Maple Street, shared with her late husband Robert for 35 years, was her sanctuary, its sagging porch and overgrown rose garden a testament to her retreat. Paint peeled from shutters like memories fading, and the garden Robert once tended with pride now sprawled wild, thorns snagging anyone who ventured too close. Elellanar preferred it that way. Fewer visitors meant fewer questions about the elaborate scarves she wore, even in the sweltering Ohio summers, to hide the lump behind her left ear. It started 6 years ago, a small bump she dismissed as an indignity of age. "Getting old ain't for sissies," she'd mutter to Robert's framed photo each morning, her grandmother's words echoing across decades. But the growth had grown defiant. Now the size of a tennis ball, its surface uneven with peaks and valleys that no scarf could fully conceal. It pulsed faintly, as if alive, a secret refusing to stay buried. Elellanar's days followed a rigid rhythm to avoid scrutiny. Coffee with Robert's picture, recounting the weather or the stray cats claiming her porch. Afternoons lost to soap operas, their predictable dramas of comfort. Evenings waiting for calls from her son Marcus, 45, an architect in Denver, that rarely came. Their relationship had withered since Robert's death 3 years ago, reduced to terse holiday cards and birthday calls that grew shorter each year. Marcus's life, skyscrapers, gallery openings, a world far from Milfield, felt like a rejection of her own. Her teacher's pension, $1,800 a month, covered utilities but little else. Medicare's gaps loomed like chasms. The house, nearly paid off after decades of scrimping, was her only security. Medical bills could shatter that. Neighbor Iris Thompson, a persistent widow with a knack for casseroles, was the only one who still tried to breach Elellanar's walls. "When's the last time you came to church, Elellanar May?" she called through the screen door. Elellanar's excuses, headaches, errands were well practiced, but Iris's concern grew sharper, her eyes lingering on the scarves. "You're hiding something," she said once, half joking. Elellanar laughed it off, but her heart raced. The lump wasn't just a physical burden. It carried a weight she couldn't name. A mandatory Medicare enrollment meeting at the Milfield Community Center forced her hand. She'd tossed notices for weeks, but the final letter threatened loss of benefits, a risk she couldn't take. In her bedroom, she spent an hour before the mirror, arranging a powder blue silk scarf to mask the lump's asymmetry. The community center buzzed with familiar faces, former students, now grandparents, who remember her as the teacher who'd shaped their children. She chose a back corner seat, her wide-brimmed hat pulled low, praying to blend into the beige walls. Halfway through the Medicare reps droning about Part D, Elellanar felt warmth against her neck. The lump was weeping again, a clear, metallic-scented fluid that had started a month ago. She pressed her hand to the scarf, but the silk darkened, crimson seeping through. "Eleanor, you're bleeding." Betty Whitman, the church organist, gasped, her voice cutting through the room. Heads turned. "Call 911, someone shouted. "What is that thing?" A whisper hissed, sharp and audible. Elellanar bolted. Scarf clutched to her neck, leaving a trail of blood on the tile floor. She ran across the parking lot, down Maple Street, ignoring Iris's calls, until she reached her home. Fumbling with the lock, she collapsed inside, heart pounding, shame burning hotter than the wound. For 3 days she hid, surviving on crackers and water, too humiliated to face the town's whispers. The bleeding stopped, but the fear didn't. On the 4th day, Iris called Marcus. "Your mother's in trouble, son. Come home." Marcus arrived from Denver, stepping into a house that smelled of dust and grief. He found Elellanar in Robert's recliner, a frail figure in a bathrobe at 3 p.m., the TV droning to an empty room. "Mom, this isn't living," he said, his voice tight. He noticed a pill organizer, heart medication rationed every other day, and a shoebox of unpaid medical bills, some 2 years old. In her jewelry box, beneath Robert's watch, he found a manila envelope with $15,000 in cash, her emergency fund, saved penny by penny. "What's under the scarf?" he asked gently. Tears spilled as she unwound it, revealing a mass distorting her jaw. 6 years, she whispered. "Maybe more. I thought it was nothing." Marcus's jaw tightened. "We're seeing a doctor today. What have you ignored, hoping it would vanish, only to find it growing louder?" The drive to Dr. James Mitchell's office was silent. Elellanar rigid in Marcus's rental car, her scarf reapplied with trembling hands. Dr. Mitchell, who'd guided Robert through cancer, lost his composure when she revealed the mass. "Eleanor, this should have been addressed years ago," he said, his voice soft but urgent. The mass was firm, irregular, with visible blood vessels snaking across stretched skin. "Serious risk, infection, hemorrhage, maybe malignancy." He referred her to Dr. Patricia Sullivan, chief of surgery at Regional Medical Center, calling ahead to expedite. Elellanar protested. "I can't afford this, James." He cut her off. "We're past finances. This could be life-threatening." At Regional Medical Center, Elellanar felt dwarfed by the glass and steel building. She wore her best navy dress, Robert's favorite, and pearl earrings, but the scarf felt like a neon sign. Marcus carried a folder of insurance papers, his face etched with guilt for years of distance. Dr. Sullivan's office, lined with diplomas, exuded authority, but her kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses sparked a vague familiarity Elellanar couldn't place. "When did this start?" Dr. Sullivan asked, pen poised. 6 years, maybe longer, Elellanar said, admitting its recent aggression. The examination was gentle but thorough. Dr. Sullivan's fingers traced the mass's edges, noting its vascular network. "Complex cyst, likely adhered to tissue," she diagnosed. "Major surgery, 6 to 8 hours. With Medicare, about $3,000 out of pocket." Elellanar's heart sank. Her $15,000 could cover it, but what then? An MRI, scheduled urgently, revealed a metallic object embedded within the growth. "Any trauma to the area?" Dr. Sullivan asked, her gaze sharp. Elellanar hesitated. "Nothing serious," she said, her voice barely audible. "Just bumps over the years." Marcus caught the lie, his eyes narrowing, but he stayed silent. Back home, he confronted her about the cash. "It's my lifeline," she said, voice cracking. "If I spend it and need care later, I'll lose a house. I'll die in a county home." Marcus sat on Robert's ottoman, the distance between them heavy with unspoken years. "Mom, what aren't you telling me?" That night, in the dim living room, Elellanar's composure broke. "Before your father, there was someone else," she began, hands twisting the scarf. "Thomas Miller. I married him in 1979. 8 months of hell. Thomas, a charming construction company owner, turned violent when drunk. It was a different time," she said. "Police didn't care. Told me to be a better wife." The night he disappeared, he'd found her divorce papers, his rage explosive. He threw a locket, his mother's heirloom, at my head. It cut deep. I grabbed a mirror to protect myself. When he lunged, I swung. He fell, hit the fireplace, and didn't get up. She buried him in the woods, staged his truck at a bus station, and let the town believe he'd run off. "The locket," she whispered, touching her neck. "It's what the MRI saw." Marcus absorbed the confession, stunned. "Self-defense, Mom. You were protecting yourself." She shook her head. "In 1979, no one would have believed me. And now, if they find it—" Marcus took her hand. "We'll face it together. What secret have you carried, fearing it would destroy you if it surfaced?" The town's response was swift and overwhelming. Iris Thompson and the church ladies organized a fund, raising $8,000 from former students who remembered Elelanar's kindness, buying school supplies, tutoring late, comforting kids through divorces. "It's not charity," Iris insisted at a tearful intervention. "It's gratitude for 40 years of giving." Cards poured in from across the country, a Facebook page amplifying the effort. Elellanar, humbled, accepted, realizing her isolation had been her prison. Surgery day arrived, gray and cold. Dr. Sullivan's gaze held an intensity Elellanar couldn't shake as she was wheeled into the OR. Under anesthesia, her last thought was a prayer. "Let the truth set me free." The procedure stretched past 4 hours, the gross complexity defying expectations. Dr. Sullivan extracted a tarnished gold locket and mirror fragments, embedded in decades of scar tissue. "This is old trauma," she murmured to her team. Elelanar's vitals spiked, her unconscious words chilling. "Don't tell Robert. Thomas is gone. So much blood." Dr. Sullivan froze. Thomas Miller was her father, vanished in 1979 when she was 3. The locket was her great-grandmother's, a family heirloom she'd seen in photos. The realization hit. Elellanar, her third-grade teacher, was tied to her father's disappearance. She completed the surgery, mind racing, and documented the objects as evidence of historical trauma. In recovery, Elellanar woke to Marcus's steady presence. Dr. Sullivan entered, her composure masking turmoil. "Mrs. Hartford, I need to talk about my father, Thomas Miller." Elelanar's heart monitor spiked. "Your little Patricia," she whispered, seeing the shy third grader in the surgeon's face. She confessed. "The abuse, the fatal night, the cover-up. I was terrified," she said. "No one would have believed me." Patricia listened, her medical training parsing the trauma pattern. Significant force, deep embedding. "Self-defense," she said, "not a question. Courts understand this now. You've suffered enough." She chose not to report, her father's case long closed. "You taught me forgiveness," she said, recalling Elelanar's third-grade lessons. "It's about freeing ourselves from pain control. What would you do with a truth that could heal or destroy? How do you choose between justice and compassion?" 3 months later, Elellanar stood before her mirror, her scar a faint pink line, no longer a secret's hiding place. She slept dreamlessly, laughed freely, ate at her kitchen table without fear. Marcus stayed, opening a small architecture practice in Milfield, designing homes to rebuild community. Their morning coffees became a ritual of reconnection, mending years of distance. Dr. Patricia Sullivan visited often, their talks weaving teaching, healing, and shared history. Together, they launched the Hartford Sullivan Foundation for Trauma Recovery, Elellanar speaking across Ohio about surviving abuse. Her story, once a burden, empowered women to find their voices. Milfield Elementary named its library wing after her, a testament to her legacy. At the dedication, Patricia gifted her the restored locket, now a symbol of survival, not shame. Elellanar realized her secret had led to her purpose, helping others heal. What secret might you share to free yourself? How has courage reshaped your story? Share below. From wherever you are, this is Elelanar's truth, and it's yours to tell too.